Outlast Trials is a game that I've actually been looking forward to for quite some time. I was really excited for it to come out on consoles. I'm a huge fan of multiplayer horror games, whether it's Dead by Daylight or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Back 4 Blood, or hell, even Aliens Fireteam Elite. If there's a slight bit of horror and it's multiplayer, I'm gonna be there day one. And Outlast Trials finally came out late last night or early this morning, however you want to look at it, on console, and I've been playing it. I put a whole bunch of hours into it throughout the whole duration of today, and I have some thoughts. I'm gonna show you guys some raw gameplay. I'm gonna review the game for you guys, give you my first impressions after playing the game for pretty much a whole day. But before I do that, I want to make one thing clear, and that's that the Outlast Trials came out almost a year ago, I think, for PC in early access. This review is not from the perspective of someone who's been playing the game for a long time. This isn't a review of an update or anything like that. This is a review from the perspective of someone who's jumping into it for the very first time today with the console release. So let's jump into the review, but before we do that, consider subscribing. I talk about video games all the time on this page, day one reviews just like this. But I also talk about movies and TV shows, but enough with this intro. Let's talk about the Outlast Trials. So what is the Outlast Trials? It's a multiplayer horror game, but unlike games like Dead by Daylight or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's no killer. It's all co-op and it's all about teamwork. It's essentially the most brutally violent escape room that you can think of, but in the form of a video game instead of a building next to a nail salon and a Chinese food place. You go through different trials and you have to complete various objectives, find clues, solve puzzles, and then you gotta try and escape. All while trying to be stealthy, trying not to get killed, trying to avoid AI killers, and maintain your sanity. And there's a lot that can kill you in this game. Like I mentioned, there's AI killers, but you can also be killed by the environment. There's traps that are laying around everywhere, and there's also imposters. That's right, you could be turning a corner, think you see your online friend walking towards you, but it's actually a killer in disguise. And in case you're not familiar with the Outlast games, there's absolutely no combat in this game. You don't have weapons, you don't have guns, you can't really fight back against the enemies. You can stun them though by throwing like bricks or bottles at them. Now let's start with the positives. What do I like about this game? The first positive thing I want to say is just super general, and that's that I had a blast playing this game. Play with the right people and it can be entertaining in multiple different ways. When I played co-op with just one other person, it was tense. It was sometimes even scary, and strategizing can really pay off and feel rewarding, and you can really embrace just this crazy atmosphere that this game has. But on the flip side, if you play with 4 people online who use headsets, it can just be a hilarious shit show. So there's a way to play this game super seriously and embrace the horror aspect, but there's also a way to play this game where it's just a fun time. I personally preferred the more serious approach. I really liked strategizing. If just, again, I liked that rewarding feeling. There's a good amount of trials in this game. There's actually a lot more than I was expecting there to be. Again, trials are just basically the different levels that you can play through. And on each of these trials, there's different main objectives and side objectives that you do, so it makes it feel different each time. And obviously, there's different enemies and different monsters in these different trials, but also there can be different enemy types on the same trial. For example, I played through one of the trials, and there was this main villain that was hunting us down the whole time. And then I played through that same trial again, and the main villain was different. Gameplay also can change up with skills, which in this game they're called rigs, and it makes it again feel more strategic. You can have one person in your group essentially be a healer who carries around this thing that can heal you and their whole party. And then someone else in your group can have this really powerful ability that stuns enemies for a long duration. On the technical aspect, I didn't experience anything bad about this game. This game is actually really, really good technically. It runs super smooth on my standard PlayStation 4. Great graphics and great audio, especially great audio with the directional audio with people who are playing with mics in game. I wanted to feel super immersed in this game, so I chose to completely remove the name tags from my partners, but I could still tell who was who based on the great directional audio design. But the thing that I really liked about this game the most is it reminded me of so many PC co-op horror games that I've always wanted to play. I'm not a PC gamer, I'm a console gamer, and very rarely do games like this come to console, and I'm just super happy that I have one that I can play. Now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I didn't like about the Outlast Trials. The first thing being that no matter how much you strategize, no matter how stealthy that you are, there were often times that a trial just resulted in someone trying to endlessly loop the enemies until you could just finish the objective. Not in every trial, but often there always came a point where the shit show was just unable to be contained again. So just everyone was running around like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to just get the objectives done. And yeah, it was funny the first few times, but after a while it just kind of got annoying. Like I mentioned before, the main objectives and a lot of the sub-objectives are different from trial to trial, but also there are some objectives that you keep doing over and over and over no matter what trial you're doing. So there are things that just feel stale after a while, like trying to complete generators, trying to find keys with certain logos on them. But I mean, that's common in games like this. It's common in Dead by Daylight, it's common in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it's not the biggest nail in the coffin. It's just a pet peeve that I have with this genre of gaming in general. But my biggest con with this game is I can't really imagine this game is very replayable. I played through the same trial a few times and it played out pretty much the exact same way every time. Now just keep in mind that is my opinion, but I would go check out a forum group or something that's dedicated to this game. I would go check out a different YouTuber who makes a lot of content based around this game, because for all I know, they think it has quite a long lifespan. For all I know, there's a lot that you can do, a lot of replayability value. But just in my opinion and my experience playing this game for all of today, I have a feeling by the time I finish all the trials, I'm not really gonna return to this game until they add new trials. And then when they add those new trials, I'm probably gonna play them once, spend a day doing it, and then delete the game off my console until, again, new trials come out after that. But with that being said, I still think that this game is well worth $40 just to experience each trial once with the right partner or group of friends. Again, from a technical perspective, this is a great game. This is a fun game. It's such a blast to play through once. But again, think about other things people spend $40 on. Again, I'm going to kind of compare it to an escape room. Imagine going out into the world and going to an escape room with your friends and you each spend $40 to do that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's really fun to do that, but just consider this like a digital escape room, but instead of doing it once, you have a good handful of escape rooms to get through. But I especially believe that to be true because I know that this game is going to be memorable as hell. Let's say in the future when I'm done playing this game officially and I never play it again and I only have, say, 20 hours into this game, I know that there are gonna be some really good gaming memories to look back on. Anyway, that's my quick and brief thoughts after playing the Outlast Trials today. Does this game look interesting to you? Are you gonna play it? Let me know in the comments, or let me know if you're gonna skip this game completely. Or if you've been playing this game for a long time, let me know how well supported this game is, because I'm curious, do they support this game well? Is there always new content? Once again, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and thank you for watching, especially if you watched this far.